Hi guys, nice to be here. Thank you for having me over, and it's good to see all of you today in this room, in this space. I need an audio-visual guide here because I'm starting to forget things. so, so will the presentation be turned on at some point, guys? Thank you. Okay. Yay! All right. So, hi, I'm Prateek. You guys might know me from FAQ days where I used to be doing this science show with my best friend and pal Crash, and we used to do these fun science activities and experiments. So, if you want me to talk about that, today is not the day. I have come here to talk about another passion project of mine, which is called Folktales of India. And I'm going to be expanding more on that particular topic today. So if you wanted me to talk about FAQ, now's the time that you can leave. That's not happening. So yeah, so the folktales of India, right? Like so India, we are Indians, and there are so many stories that we have learned. And as with many cultures, we have our own lore, we have our own stories. We also have a lot of sort of data and morals which is handed down generation to generation, right? Now, when I was a kid growing up, for me, there was no such avenue besides books. And those books also, we never really got so many of, books on Indian folk tales. Mostly we were getting like foreign European folk tales books that we were like, look at. Now with social media, right? I mean, it's insane. You guys can go and check out anything under the sun, and you've got the knowledge to be able to take and use for yourselves. So, with that line of thought, I would like the next slide. Thank you. So, as we speak about Indian folk tales, it's a massive treasure trove of different types of stories which might be whimsical or might be super intense. If you go to the mountains, a lot of the stories are just about primarily making sure that you don't fall off or die, or keeping things a little bit more realistic. So things like that affect a lot. In Rajasthan, where I'm from, a lot of the tales are about where you can get water or where the oases are. So yeah, so that's how these tales were carried on forward generation by generation to just tell the next generation that, hey, watch out for water, like udhar milega. So next slide, please. Right. So what these tales also do is that they have a very strong moral fabric and a very strong moral code that comes across. And these tales not only sort of want to teach you something at the same time because of the way the delivery was done. Because back in the day, it was all mouth to mouth, right? Mouth to mouth sounds so wrong. like, so, so it was all it was all said by words. Like yeah, it was told from a person to another person. It made really funny. It made really funny storytelling because then you had your grandmother telling you a story, or you had your dad telling you a story, and both of them gave very different flavors to the same story. Still relevant today. It's just that we might not find them cool, but they're still extremely relevant today. And one of the things that really captured my imagination as a student at the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad was that why not make it cool, right? So even before because again, coming from a background of not getting enough access to a lot of these beautiful stories, to then saying that, okay, meko banana hai, like I want to make these stories. So, or at least document them. Next slide, please. Started, so, in college, I decided that I'm going to make these folk tales of India, which is going to be pretty much cataloging all these beautiful arts and stories from that region. But then, of course, that's a mammoth task because animation is not easy. And it's extremely cost and time intensive. So decided that, okay, we will, think of this idea and pitch it to Pogo, Cartoon Network, and so on and so forth. Ended up working with all of them, but didn't actually get this going. So the line of thought was then, okay, how do we do it in another way? Because the idea is to showcase these beautiful tales that we have from the region. So back in 2014, Oddish decided to get on students to make these stories for my company, right? And kind of showcase that onto YouTube, because YouTube was a free platform, and you could show it to the world in terms of what you're creating out here on the internet. So YouTube became the fantastic place for us to be able to showcase these creations that these different students came in, and they would put these stories together. Next slide, please. So that started the Folktales of India, in which what we would do is we would take a story, I mean, of course, curated. We would take a story from a region and then animate it in the art style of that region. So, for example, if The Intelligent Wife is a story which is from Tamil Nadu, the art style that we made the whole film in was in Tanjavur painting. So things like that is something that we were trying to do, is make these films which were showcasing both the art and the region-specific storytelling. Next slide, please. And in effect, what happened was that we got to make about 34 odd films made by different students and directors. And each one, actually, some of them even came up with saying that, hey, you know what, I have a story in my life which has actually happened to me. And for example, like, there is this one that we've done which is called The Grand General. It's about a family which was Dalits, and back in the day, when they were, of course, back in the day means this is like Britishers' times, they could not, they were actually segregated out from the rest of society. But because they were working for the Britishers, they actually had the upper hand. And in that village in Kerala where they were, Karnataka where they were, and so what ended up happening was these guys built this beautiful life around the British, and his great grandfather actually believed that the British were the solution for India, but his grandfather was actually a freedom fighter. And he himself is a comms designer who came and interned with us and decided to make this film. So it's a really interesting folklore that just got created right there itself, which is that, look, there is so much of storytelling that happens across generations in a country like ours, which has seen a lot in terms of people and different cultures. Next, please. Next. Right. So then that brings me to this point right now, is that I'm a broadcast guy. Like when I was working with Cartoon Network, with Pogo, with Hangama, Nickelodeon, I actually worked with all of them as a producer, making promos and stuff. So what happened was that we were always in a one-sided communication, which means that we would make a film, it would go out there on broadcast, and probably we'd get feedback much later, right? With the advent of social media, what happened was that suddenly feedback was coming in so quickly, right? Everything, like if I put out a video or a film right now, I've already got comments and likes and engagement and so on and so forth, or the complete opposite, which is like, oh my god, this is absolute trash, right? So there were both scenarios that were playing out very well, and that was something that most advertisers have caught on to. People in broadcast have also picked it up. You have now OTTs and apps and so on and so forth, which are also delivering a lot of content. And this makes life amazing for all of you, because you as storytellers have much more connected sort of feedback cycles that are very relevant and very quick. So why I say this is because now folktales can be told really quickly as well. And the scenario that I come from, which is that, oh, you know what, I have to wait for a book to be able to read a story. Now I can just watch it, download it, take it from the internet. You know, the access to data has become absolutely amazing. And that is something that, as a line of thought, I would like to leave you with, is that you guys are the futures not the futures, you guys are the future of this country. And hopefully you guys can tell your stories to the world at large, so that people know that we have a lot more stories to tell than just the standards that have been built in the past. So yeah, thank you. That was it. Yeah.